We are well and truly over the mid-year hump. On the fast track to spooky season and the chaos-riddled family battlegrounds of Christmas. So I thought it was the right time to spend the weekend looking back at some movies that I missed in the cinema this year. So today I'll be going through a few of those movies, talking about what I did like, what I didn't like, overall thoughts, and just give you a general breakdown if these are worth going back to for yourself and checking out. And let's get right into it.
Are there any others? Have you tried making a distress signal or a bigger fire?
Getting us out of here should be your focus, not being Susie Homemaker.
You do know you would have died out there.
Yeah, how do you think that would have worked out for you?
The latest movie from legendary director Sam Raimi and starring Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. An overworked analyst and her boss must work together to survive on an island after a plane crash. They must navigate the remote and dangerous jungle and the workplace power dynamic that collapses around them. Firstly, this movie tries to do the impossible. It tries to make Rachel McAdams look unattractive by giving her the personality of an energy vampire and the style of an 80-year-old grandpa.
Energy vampires drain people's energy merely by talking to them.
Actual versus budget year to date, no thanks. You're gonna be at that all day.
And also, she is a bit of a survival expert. That's something that I myself dabble in, and by dabble I mean I get hyper fixated on survival shows once a year for a good month span. So Survivor, Alone, and YouTube videos. So naturally I believe that if I was dropped onto an island, I would have fire and shelter and a thriving society within minutes. Dylan O'Brien, on the other hand, plays her asshole boss named Bradley. Bradley, as described, is a complete nepo baby little shit. And I've got to say, bad news for Dylan O'Brien. He's really good at playing an arsehole. An actor who I genuinely really enjoy in everything I've seen him in. Even going back to the Teen Wolf days, he was by far the best actor on that show. But he just has this snarky little smirk that he has, and even this jackal cackle that he releases every now and then, and it's so good and it's so enjoyable to watch. He probably, for me, was the highlight of the movie. Rachel McAdams is also good, but not as much of a fun character compared to him. So we end up with two characters that are unlikable in different ways. I do think Bradley, Dylan O'Brien's character, is a bit more fun to watch, but overall you can't really root for the guy because he is such a dick. And I think that is one of my major gripes with this movie. There are a few, but this is one of the main ones. I just didn't really know who I should be rooting for. Each character has their moments of likability, but it does even out a lot. And by the end of the film, one of our characters, I won't spoil who, has a bit of a character shift and a drastic change in their behavior. I feel like they were trying to make it a grand reveal, but it just didn't feel earned at all. Just to make it obvious who we should be rooting for. And which would have been fine. I think it's great to then give the audience a bit of clarity on who's kind of good and who's kind of bad here. I think because it wasn't built up to be that, or the reveal just didn't really work for me personally, I just was oh, okay, I guess, yeah, fine, they suck. Gender neutral term, no grand reveal here. They, them, zim, zer. Don't get me wrong, this movie is enjoyable and it has its moments, but overall it did feel a little bit unfocused. It felt like it was trying to be a psychological thriller movie, a horror film, a drama, kind of a little bit romantic, also a survival film all in one. And that's okay if you can combine all those genres into a cohesive movie, but I think it really just failed at that fundamentally. And instead of having a consistent tone of all those things throughout, it kind of from scene to scene would shift exactly what kind of focus it wanted to have. And by the end, I just was a little bit lost in what is this and what is this really about? Personally, I think someone should send help to Sam Raimi to help him make a more cohesive movie next time.
Sick burn.
No, but seriously, this movie is worth a watch. I wouldn't rush out to see it, but if you've got a free afternoon, you can't really find anything to watch, I think you'll come away from this not loving it, but you're yeah, that was okay. Next movie.
Give the people what they want.
Many faces of death.
You need to listen to me about these videos. I need to do something.
Faces of Death. Was that a good face of death? Directed by Daniel Goldhaber, Goldhaber, starring Barbie Ferreira, Dacre Montgomery, and for some reason Charlie XCX. And yes, she is awful at acting. A woman who is employed by a website called Kino, it's basically TikTok in this universe. She's hired as a content moderator, so aka the fun police. She comes across a series of videos that are depicting people being murdered in different ways by the same masked man. And firstly, I must say, this movie is not very good. Giving some of the worst and most over-the-top performances I've seen in a hot minute, Faces of Death feels like a movie made by the most annoying people on the planet and on the internet.
Millennials.
No. Wait.
The 28-year-old toddler that spills everything. Spooky haircut. Spooky haircut.
You cute kids. You can have our 90s fashion. Take it. It's kind of epic. But you'll never understand.
Who are so out of touch with how the internet, society, and just social media in general works, that when it's trying to say something, and this movie really is trying to say something about those things, it just fundamentally falls flat and just doesn't show any sort of understanding of those things at all. And funnily enough, they can't even capture realism as well and how the real world works either. There's a scene in this movie towards the end, I don't want to spoil anything, but it basically has our killer shooting a sniper rifle out of his window at people in a suburban neighborhood, and there's like no commotion about it. No one says a thing. The neighbors aren't poking their head out the window, no one's calling the police, and it just is like, come on, what dimension are we living in? We're in America as well. Everyone knows what gunshots sound like. Just a lot of things like that where it's like, is this supposed to be in the real world, or is this just like one of those movies where it's like, just don't think about it. Don't think about it. No one, no. People don't report crimes to police. Okay, buddy, sure. Margot, played by Ferreira, falls down an obsessive rabbit hole to track down this serial killer who's recreating scenes from a cult classic movie called Faces of Death. Very niche and largely forgotten movie. He recreates scenes from that by killing real people. He does so to gain online fame and also like shine a light on how cruel and horrible current society and the internet is. When you get like this reveal of what his like true motives are, you're a bit like, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. If that's what you're trying to say, I guess so. But funny thing about this movie is Margot uses the autists over at Reddit to figure out who this guy is and uses them as her main investigative tool. Just showing that these guys truly are millennials, believing that the best and most factual place for information is Reddit. Yeah, if that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. Overall, that I just find that hilarious that they're like, yeah, she uses Reddit. Everyone uses Reddit. That's the best way to find information. It's the most factual, like unbiased sort of news source on the planet. People are so good on there and very reasonable. It's not like if you posted this on Reddit, someone would immediately tell you to go kill yourself or something. No, that wouldn't happen. Wouldn't happen. In a year full of incredible horror films, like probably one of the best years for horror ever, Faces of Death is definitely one to put on the bottom of the watch list in terms of horror content so far this year. Yeah, I wouldn't rush out to watch this one. Next movie.
And they were in the same den.
No.
I understand you.
Hoppers, a Disney and Pixar film, directed by Daniel Chong, starring Piper Cruder, Bobby Moynihan, and John Hamm. A 19-year-old animal lover uses technology to place her consciousness inside of a beaver. Yes, this is the plot. To uncover a mystery going on within the wildlife world. And I've got to say, Hoppers is adorable. It is sad though, watching this movie, because of the way the internet is right now, I was like, is this AI? Kind of looks a little bit like AI. Yes, this movie is really well animated. It has that like new school Pixar look, which, you know, looks really nice. It's really clean. I do yearn for that old school animation style, but we're probably never going back to that, are we? I wish someone told me I was in the good old days. Would have been nice. But overall, I liked this movie. It's definitely not an all-time Pixar film for myself. I do think this movie is more targeted towards children. I know, Pixar, how dare you make a movie for children? Instead of a movie that sends adults into existential crises. But no, this is definitely more for children in terms of Pixar's catalog, which is okay. They make a lot of movies that have a lot for adults, but this one is just like a fun, more goofy movie. It's quite sweet, has a nice message about the environment and loving animals and just sort of working together to have a nice cohesive environment for human and animal kind. It does feel a little bit like Wild Robot Light, and if you did see that movie, I think that came out last year, I think that overall is a better movie and has more to offer for adults and children. It hits a bit harder emotionally. Overall, Hoppers is a really nice time. I think it's one to definitely chuck on for the kids or for the person in the friend group who you consider the dumbest. And yes, we all know who we're talking about. I'm looking at you right now. It's you. Next movie.
This whole building is a satanic cult.
Tonight, we must offer a human sacrifice.
Excuse me?
They Will Kill You, a movie that couldn't be more opposite to Hoppers, directed by Kirill Sokolov. He has to be Russian. Hello, my name is Kirill Sokolov. Have a nice day. Starring Zazie Beetz, Patricia Arquette, and Tom Felton. Yes, that is Draco Malfoy. In 2019, when I first watched Ready or Not, I was pleasantly surprised with how great that movie was. Going into it, not expecting very much. I had a similar feeling when I went into 2022's Bullet Train, another movie that I just watched on a whim with a buddy one night and was blown away and just had a really great time. Being surprised by movies is really hard these days. If you're tapped into movie reviews or social media, you usually get some kind of indication for what a movie is going to be like. Luckily for me, I had heard basically nothing on They Will Kill You, and I can say I was absolutely blown away with how great it was. And watching it throughout, I was like, damn, this really could have been a massive eye roll of a movie, but genuinely is such a fun, action-packed ride. It knows what it is and it doesn't deviate from the tone that it sets up from the beginning of the movie. It really commits to the bit. And what this movie lacks in plot makes up for massively in really great action, good choreography, over-the-top violence, and camera work and shot framing overall that just has no business being as good and creative as it is. I was absolutely blown away with some of the shots in this movie. I think They Will Kill You takes massive inspiration from movies like Kill Bill, The Kingsman, John Wick, and definitely Ready or Not as well. It doesn't ever feel like it's ripping those things off. It feels like it's paying homage and forging its own creative path. Yes, there are some plot holes in this movie, but it follows the very simple Alex Uploads rule, which is, if a movie is cool enough, then I will forgive it for having plot holes. Do they give a very good reason for why Zazie Beetz' character Asia is really good at fighting and can take on groups of people at once with different weaponry and just her fists overall? Not really. It doesn't matter. It's cool. Do some things conveniently fall in her lap to forward the plot throughout the movie? Yes, they do, but doesn't matter. It's cool. Sporting some great practical and visual effects overall, this movie has blood splatter effects that are straight out of Tarantino film. The hotel itself is designed so cool and so symmetrically. Almost feels like a bit of like a shelter out of the Fallout video games where a weird experiment is going on and we're just getting a look into that happening. Overall, They Will Kill You is a pleasant surprise and just a really fun action movie. If you're a horror fan or an action movie fan and just want something that's really easy to watch but you'll have a great time watching it, They Will Kill You is a must-watch movie for the year.
Just gotta hold on.
Deep Water, directed by Rennie Harland. No. Starring Aaron Eckhart and Ben Kingsley. A group of international travelers are going from Los Angeles to Shanghai. They are forced to make an emergency landing in shark-infested waters. They must work together to survive and overcome a frenzy of hungry sharks. First thing off the bat, Deep Water features one of the most thrilling and interesting and just overall good plane crash sequences I've seen in a movie in a very long time. It genuinely made me think this movie was going to be really good, and oh boy, was I wrong. I legitimately had written in my notes a little question to myself, hang on, is this movie good? And by the end of it, I had a little dash and wrote a big fat N-O. That spells no, if you couldn't tell. Deep Water has some of the most forgettable and uninteresting characters that I was quite happy to see become fish food. It has just enough shark-filled action to keep you from nodding off on a Saturday afternoon while you're watching this movie. As a big creature feature or animals eating people movie fan, fan. It is just disappointing that we've never had anything that comes even slightly close to being as good as Jaws. Is there a reason for that? I know Spielberg made Jaws, but why has nothing come even close to Jaws? And I can safely say this definitely does not come close to Jaws either, if you can't tell by my reaction so far. Deep Water overall, there's not much to say about it. It's a massive meh of a movie. If you are into creature features and you like animals, sharks eating people, like I know some people are just big shark movie fans, this might be worth watching. It's not terrible. It's better than some of the stuff you get, so, you know, eat your chum, little fishies.
Tommy's going through a rebellious phase.
I'm gonna obliterate you the second I get out of here!
Good Boy or Heel. Directed by Jan Komosa, starring Stephen Graham, Andrea Riseborough, and Aaron Boone. A 19-year-old criminal is kidnapped by Chris and Catherine and forced into rehabilitation in an effort to make him a good boy. But Tommy must find a way to escape before it's too late. This movie was definitely pitched as more of a thriller. It's definitely not a thriller. It has some thrilling moments. There's some very interesting, intense scenes here and there throughout, but overall it's more of like a slow burn drama, which I was not expecting at all. It's sort of more of a film about manhood and recovery and even the justice system in a way. It also like kind of shows the importance of having like a strong family unit and people around you who love and care for you, even if it might be slightly dysfunctional at times, but as long as like you're around each other and genuinely care for each other and want the best for each other, you can turn out being not a totally bad person. This movie is actually kind of really sad.
I'm gonna cry.
Stephen Graham is fantastic as usual. He's consistently just like one of the best character actors out there. Aaron Boone is really good in this movie as well. He plays a real party boy, a criminal piece of shit.
Proper naughty boys.
He has a real like shitty, conniving, spoilt attitude, reprising his role from the TV show Mobland. If you haven't seen that, he's basically the same guy. He's really good at playing a little cunt. This is a good movie. I think you just have to go in expecting the right thing. Don't watch the trailer. It's going to give you the wrong impression of this movie. I think go in expecting like more of a drama than a thriller, and you might enjoy this one. I personally thought it was pretty good.
Each day I read out loud to them mysteries, whodunits. I know who the killer was.
I like to pretend that they follow along.
But they're only sheep.
Why would he stop there?
Sheep Detectives. Directed by Carl Balder and starring Hugh Jackman, and honestly one of the most stacked casts I've ever seen. I'll put it right here, but this is honestly almost as stacked as the fucking Odyssey with the amount of talent in this movie. Something I did find funny about this movie is Bella Ramsey's in it and she plays the most insufferable, annoying sheep in this film, and I just found that very funny. I felt it very, very fitting. Good casting, guys. Spot on.
I'm gonna be a dad.
Every night, a shepherd reads a murder mystery novel to his sheep, not knowing they can understand him. When he is found dead, his sheep quickly realize that he's been murdered and they might be the only ones who can solve the mystery. This might be one of the best movies I've seen this year. Like, genuinely is like probably in my top 4 so far. Didn't expect that. It's great. Sheep Detectives is great. It has that same effect as Paddington, where it's just so wholesome and nice and has something for absolutely everyone in your family. Even like your kind of funny but slightly racist old grandparents will probably enjoy this one. It's just genuinely a really lovely movie with a really good and engaging mystery that I honestly really wanted to solve. I wanted to find out what happened to the shepherd. It has a great message about memory and remembering those who have moved on in life. You know, it might be sad to think about these people, but the reality of it is, you know, that they're gone now, but you should think about them and remember them and reminisce. As much as it is painful to think about the bad times, it's worth it to remember the good.
Tough time never lasts. Only tough people last.
The sheep in this are absolutely adorable, and I would burn down an entire village and possibly scorch the entire earth to protect the winter sheep. Do not come at me. That thing is fucking adorable. This movie, as expected with any film with animals in it, it just really hits you in the feels. It really hits you in the feels. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I cried 3 times watching this movie. Big blubbering mess over here watching the Sheep Detective film. It's just another pleasant surprise. I was not expecting much from this movie. It has just great performances overall. The voice cast, like I mentioned, is absolutely stacked and they're just great. And every time you hear a voice, like, oh my God, it's fucking Bryan Cranston as a sheep. That's cool. I dig it. It was just a really nice way to end my weekend before the soul-crushing depression of realization that I had to have to go back to my regular 9 to 5. But yeah, overall, Sheep Detectives is a must-watch movie. I genuinely don't think anyone could dislike this movie. If you dislike this movie, I don't know what to tell you. You need to fucking find some happiness in life because this thing is just a bundle full of sunshine. And it might make you feel something. Go watch it. Watch it with the whole family. Watch it with everyone. Get everyone you know, bring them to your house, watch it with them. All your friends, if you got any. It might be the best movie of the year. The Sheep Detective movie might be the best movie of the year. What can I say? But yes, that was movies that I had missed from the beginning of the year up until now. Have you seen any of these movies? What did you think of them? Let me know in the comments. Let me know of some other stuff that maybe I have missed that you would like to see me review. I've still got like a couple that I have gotten past me, but I will catch them and I will find them and I will watch them. But thank you very much for watching. I love you. Bye-bye. I don't have my laptop. I left it at my girlfriend's house.